Imagine being told of a loved one's death by way of nothing more than a note or simply being told to just call someone. It sounds heartless and cold, but one Lexington mother says the experience her family had with the coroner's office left them traumatized. That experience has now spurred Senate Bill 66, proposed legislation she hopes could help other Central Kentucky families find more compassion in death. Grief can consume you, or it can motivate you. In those quiet moments of simple things like painting, when the brush hits the paper, Stacy Burnett thinks about her son Nathan.
He had just turned 18 on St. Patrick's Day.
Last spring, Nathan Burnett was a senior at Henry Clay High School. He loved baseball, played up the role of big brother, and was adventurous.
Just loved hiking and camping and jumping off bridges into lakes, which always made me super nervous.
In March, the Burnett's sent their son off to enjoy a snowboarding trip in Utah.
We had talked to him that day, and he said he's having the greatest day of his life and that Utah was beautiful.
But later that afternoon, the Burnett's experienced the unthinkable when a coroner's van pulled up to their home.
Immediately, because it's a coroner, and we just knew he died, but we just started asking him, you know, is he dead? What happened? Is he dead?
But all she says she got from a Fayette County deputy coroner was this scrawled out note.
He just said, you just need to call this number. I don't know anything.
Burnett and her husband had to learn their son died in a snowboarding accident from a county sheriff hundreds of miles away.
I've read studies, but I just know from experience how you find out about such a traumatic event kind of shapes your healing process.
Burnett says the manner in which she found out her son died was traumatizing, not only for she and her husband, but also their children who had to witness it.
Every time I look back at the moment and finding out that he'd passed away, the way I remember it just seems so traumatic and so cold and so unappreciative of his life.
I talked with Fayette County Coroner Gary Ginn. He told me compassion is important to him and that he tries to instill it in his deputies. He told me he wasn't there when this particular notification was made, but he does say that death notifications are the hardest thing his office does. He said it is not uncommon for his deputies to write down an officer's number and name and give it to victims' families. He also told me it is important to him that notification is made in person and that he would hope the tone is compassionate. But that's not what Burnett says happened in their case, and she found out her family wasn't alone in their concerns, and it's why not even a year after losing her son, she's pushing to keep his name alive with Nathan's Law.
I started to look into what the training was for coroners and what the training was for delivering death notifications, and their bylaws have nothing.
The proposed legislation aims to push for more grief training for the state's coroners to clarify who's responsible for death notifications and who is to be present.
You can't teach compassion, but you can at least train people how to be compassionate in a certain situation.
While the grief is still present, it's what Nathan's Law could do for other families in a similar situation that now motivates this mother in honor of her son.
I just like that his death can have a positive impact in some way.
Fayette County Coroner Gary Ginn told me that if there is a way to better his department and add additional training, then he says he is for it. Nathan's Law passed out of the Senate and now sits in the Kentucky House. Some county coroners that I have talked with confirm there is no formal training on the books when it comes to grief training. And while they know that it is needed, they worry what it will cost an office that many times is already underfunded.